Sadly for Retrocast, episode 131. It's puzzle game time. We're back. Colin, your theme pick today.
Hell yeah. Yeah, just wanted to go back to basics. I wanted to cover a couple of different games, one I've played before, one I've not, just like with Action RPGs Part 2. And I've come to realize this is the second time in a row I've done a repeat of a past theme, so I'm going to try to do a more original theme next time it's my turn to pick.
No, I say you repeat for a third time. Three-peat, baby.
Three-peat.
Hat trick.
A hat trick, yes. Just like, who scored the hat trick last night? I think it was Hathaway. Kitty, no! What are you doing? Ah!
Here we go again.
God, get out of here. Going through
Pussy
the mic,
problems,
hitting
am I
it.
right?
God! Would that last, like a minute?
Pussy problems, am I right?
Oh my god. He literally sat there for like an hour, not moving, but then as soon as I start talking, oh, time to move, time to hit the mic. Ah. That's how that works. Okay. Hopefully my mic is okay. Not a lot of problems, but yes, we're doing puzzle games, part 2. I'm okay with the repeat
Indeed.
themes. We've done this show for, 5 years? 6 years? 7 years?
Well, 5 years for me.
5 for you, 4 for Joey, 7 for me. When was that first episode? Hold on.
I think I'm only doing it for a few, maybe 2, 3.
January 2017 was the first episode.
Damn. 6 years.
Yeah, not including the couple did just fucking around on YouTube. So, depending on how you want to count that. But yeah, long time. I always like puzzle games. They're weirdly one of my favorite genres in games when I'm not playing like crazy action stuff. You know? Or
Yeah.
action adventure, I guess would be my I think it would go like platformer, action adventure, and then it was racing for a long time, but it's probably puzzle games just because of how simplistic they are or complicated. The difficulty ranges. So I was pretty excited to do this after the, I would say, disappointing episode that the 2 games we covered last time. Colin, I never got your thoughts. You weren't here.
Yeah, and I didn't bother.
Ah, well, all right.
That was a
I had
smart
my
move.
birthday last weekend.
That was a smart move to avoid those games.
Yeah, I didn't have time because it was my birthday last weekend. I am now 35 years old.
Yeah.
Quite the milestone, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, we're all 35 now.
Yeah, you youngins.
Yeah, Joey had his anniversary to celebrate our friendship. I'm sure that was the only and perfect reason it was. It was very romantic. I love the Snapchat, Joey.
Our anniversary would be in like August, and
Look,
it'd
man,
be
that's why it was a surprise.
be way more than 17.
I have so many questions.
21 years? I don't know. Fuck.
It's a
Long
while.
time ago.
Yeah, it's a while. It's a couple years.
I'm sure you've got something very, very special planned.
I know, it was very surprising, Colin, that he celebrated it like 8 months early.
Wow.
That's why it was very special.
He's definitely thinking of you
He always is.
Totally,
all the time.
totally was thinking of you. Yep. Nothing else.
Yeah. Let's see here. I got a bowling tournament to prepare for the bowling tournament that's in 2 weeks. This one's pretty cool because it's sponsored by a company called Brunswick. Maybe you've heard of it.
I've heard of him.
Yeah. And what they're doing is essentially it's a tournament to try out bowling balls, and you can only use Brunswick equipment. Shoes and whatnot is the exception. It's really just about the balls. And you know, if you don't own
just
any,
about the balls.
yeah, it's always just about the balls. And if you don't own any Brunswick equipment, then basically you just have to get into the top 50, and then you get some money out of it and discounts and whatnot. So it's a good practice for me to prepare for the big tournament in 2 weeks. So I'm excited for that. That's happening in a few hours from now. So I got my coffee. I'm fully fed. I'm ready to talk some video games before that.
I didn't know Eastern Canada loved bowling so much.
I liked New Brunswick. I really
Yeah, I've
liked
only
going out there.
passed through there.
Yeah, I really liked the the only place in the Maritimes I was not really fond of was shocking Newfoundland.
Yeah.
I'm like, yep, there's a lot of nothing.
Sounds like it, yeah.
And I would always go in like fucking February where it's just cold and even more of nothing. And I was like, man, I can't even like camp. It's just it's miserable.
Yeah, fishing's all they've got going for them.
Yeah, but when in the winter, it's like, look, ice fishing, no thank you. No thank you. It's a hard pass.
Yeah, you're better off going up north.
Well, I did get to go to the Labrador area once, and that was a really cool trip. That was all about like the geographical and geological like destruction Quebec was doing out there. Yeah, it's like, we want your everything. And the natives are like, no. And it's like, well, we voted, so too bad. Like, but that doesn't, no. Oh.
Oh boy.
Yeah, politics in Canada around surrounding the natives is quite the thing to follow all the time.
For sure. Do you hear a lot of a booting out there?
Well, whenever I go to Newfoundland, it was always about like heavy Irish like accents.
Ah, yeah.
Like, I'll never forget it when I first landed there, and I asked the lady like where the rent-a-car areas were, and she sounded like she was straight from Dublin. I was like, "Are you Irish?" And she goes, "No, why?" Like, what? Huh? No, born and raised in Newfoundland. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's just because when I was working in Fort McMurray, one of the guys I worked with was from Newfoundland, and he'd say a boot. So
yeah, a boot. Yeah, it's apparently there's a huge Irish like history to Newfoundland, and that's where the immigration came from, and that's just how the accent has evolved over the years.
Makes sense.
Supposedly, that's how it goes. I don't know, but maybe it's just this like whacked out family that I met. But they weren't the only ones. Well, I heard a lot of Irish. Anyways, Canadian culture is not the thing we're discussing today. It's puzzle games, but
how dare you? It's the Red Leaf Retrocast.
That's right. Always got to talk about Canada. I mean, we could delve into hockey and how Linus Ullmark for the Bruins scored a goal as the goalie last night. That was cool.
How about the CN Tower? I went up it with my family and my brother's family for my birthday.
Why?
Plus, because my nephews hadn't been up there yet.
Oh, okay. I guess
Plus,
you got to go.
Cool view. Plus, we did Ripley's Aquarium and the Disney Immersion Experience. Finished with lunch at the old spaghetti factory.
Sounds like a nice time.
Yeah.
I got to tell Joey I had massive food poisoning for my 35th birthday.
Sounds also like a really good time.
Don't recommend. Do not recommend. Okay. Colin, since you were here last time, you'll start off. What games have you been playing, sir?
Well, yeah. Before I start with that, I've got good news and bad news on my end on the gaming front. The bad news is I looked a little closer and found out that both the Valve Index and Oculus Rift S, which are the VR headsets I was looking at getting, require a display port, and my laptop does not have that. So I won't be able to play Half-Life Alyx with my current computer.
Well, that sucks.
But the good news is I found out that PlayStation VR 2 will be coming out for PS5 later this year. And there's been talk of an agreement between Valve and Sony to get Half-Life Alyx on PS5. So on that note, I managed to snag a PS5 yesterday from GameStop.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yep.
So we all have PS5s now. This is good times.
Yep.
And better yet, it was bundled with God of War Ragnarok.
Another excellent choice.
And even better than that, I managed to snag a physical copy of Ys 8 for the PS5 too. Go me.
Well, you're set for a while, it seems.
Yes, indeed. In fact, I'm going to try and send an image on Discord quickly. But while I try to do that, I'll talk about the games I'm playing. Been playing Terminator Resistance a lot lately. It's pretty much just a more linear Fallout game. Nothing too special.
Is that
but
the PS3 like bullet hell game, or am I thinking of something completely out of this realm?
You're thinking of something else.
Okay.
This came out in like 2019.
That early? Maybe. Yeah, I'm thinking of something way different then.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the game overall is nothing too special. The little details are what make it stand out for me. It's like the sound effects of the laser weapons are exactly the same as in the first two movies, and the game makes a point of telling you that bullet weapons are ineffective against Terminators, and the lore is done so as not to interfere with the continuity of the first two movies. And the digital scope on guns will actually project a small image of what you're seeing on screen, even when you're not precision aiming. So that's kind of a cool detail. So even if the gameplay isn't entirely engaging, you can tell the developers really love the first two Terminator movies. I also started playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge.
Is that the new one?
Yep. But it plays a lot like Turtles in Time, and just like takes all the best features of different Turtles games and puts them in. It's a lot of fun, and it sounds like my one nephew has actually played it before, so I think next time he comes over with my other nephew, we'll be playing some of that. And I finally got back into Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Okay.
Because I only played a little bit of it before, and it's so much fun. It's like all the self-parody is in full swing. Like at one point, the main character's talking to this scientist lady, and she offers him a special drug to enhance his abilities with no ill side effects, but he's like, no, I made an oath to a very special lady. Your wife? No, Lady Liberty. She taught me that winners don't use drugs.
That's right.
Freaking lost it.
The opposite of Duke Nukem.
Yeah, for sure. And he's voiced by Michael Biehn, so that makes it even better. And the love for the 80s is on full display, and all the wisecrack, while not always that funny, they still add to the game. And all the different animations when you switch weapons are a lot of fun. Like twirling the handgun RoboCop style, or corkscrew spinning the machine gun in midair before catching it. I mean, you can tell the developers were having a lot of fun making this one. So I'm definitely going to be playing more of that one. And I saw the Nintendo Direct. I went nuts when I saw that Ghost Trick was getting a Switch remaster.
I figure you would. They're doing a lot of those games coming to the Switch.
Sounds like it, yeah. Yeah, Ghost Trick is another one of my top 20 favorite games of all time. Seriously, everyone needs to play it. And that short trailer for a new Professor Layton game in sort of a steampunk setting, that looks like a lot of fun. How appropriate, since we're covering one here on this cast.
Yes. Nice little teaser and spoiler there.
Why do we even bother with avoiding spoilers?
Yeah, it's not like it's not listed in the description every time.
Yeah.
Which two games, but that's okay.
Yeah.
The worst kept secret.
Yeah.
For sure. And Sea of Stars looks interesting. I mean, they got Yasunori Mitsuda to do the music. And if you're not sure who that is, he did the Chrono Trigger soundtrack. And that one is phenomenal. And Octopath Traveler looks good. Just wish I could get going on the first one.
Yeah, the second one came out. I really enjoyed the first one. Thought about getting it now, but I'm knee deep in a couple games that I'm playing right now. So I'm like, I can't do it right now. I gotta hold off.
Yeah. And Advance Wars 1 and 2, I'm definitely interested in. I mean, I've seen the teasers for it already, but I'm still excited for it. And that's pretty much everything on my end, gaming-wise. I'll hand it off to you guys.
All right, Joey, give me your best shot. What do you got?
I finished Last of Us. I was going to try to keep up with the show, but yeah, I ended up beating it because I got sucked in at the end. So then I got Madden 23 because it was on sale. I wanted to play football, but man, face of the franchise in that game is so bugged. It's stupid. I finished my first season. I chose to be on the Texans to make it hard on myself, and then they put me on the Giants. So I quit out, and then I look at the franchise, and it says I'm on the Texans. So I enter back in, and I'm still on the Giants. So I don't know what's going on with that game. So I'm on the Texan Giants.
The Texan Giants.
It's like, okay, cool. Whatever. This game's bugged as hell. And sometimes it would freeze. I have to like restart the game because it would get stuck in one of the cutscenes, and it's so buggy as hell.
You've learned the trials and tribulations of Madden over the last like 15 years.
Yeah, I would not recommend getting the game. I mean, the Ultimate Team's fun. They added more to it than just. I mean, since the last time I played, instead of just buying people and playing online, you can do like challenges and whatnot. So that's not bad, and that's obviously where all their focus is going. But I wish the single player actually made sense a little more.
I have not bought a mainline sports game of any kind since I think 2017, 2016.
I buy one every couple of years just to see.
I was the same. I'd buy like all of them, and
I think
the modes and everything, they just aren't getting any better. And it's really all about that Ultimate Team stuff.
Yeah, well,
really
they added more to it. The challenges are fun. You just go into like, hey, get a touchdown on this, like, in the first quarter or something like that, or hey, get a stop. Don't let them get 2 first downs. So that's interesting, but I don't know if it's enough to warrant buying the game. This is the first one I bought, I think, since like 17. So it's been 5 years since I bought it. And then I started Diablo 3, the new season.
Like 6 years now, but
yeah, whatever. Who's doing math?
Who's doing math outside 9 to 5? Come on.
And then I started Diablo 3 season 28 Friday because this season's kind of like going out with a bang since Diablo 4 beta is next month. So they pulled out all the stops on this season. It's a lot of fun.
All right.
That's it.
I guess I'm up. So I tried more Returnal. Game's hard as shit. It's really fun. I really like a lot of it. I love the gameplay, but it's just I reached a wall. I feel like I'm back in fucking the NES Sega days where it's like, okay, if I can only play this game for like 5 hours, then I'm done because I'm not good enough to go any further.
Yeah, that's why I uninstalled it. I just didn't want to put the time into it.
It's so difficult, and like, do I just now? I was really like, okay, I want the story, I like it. Do I just watch YouTube videos for the rest of the game at this point? Because that's what ended up happening with like Sekiro and the second Neo game and the very end of Dark Souls. Like all of them. Just once I get to that like final like crux area of those games, it's like I can never beat them, and especially like Dark Souls 3. I mean, Colin, you were way better at like Sekiro and Dark Souls than I am, and
yeah, I guess I'm a little more tenacious than you.
Yeah, well, I mean, when it comes to things like the counter systems, like I just have such a hard time with the timing of it all. I don't know what it is. I'll blame depth perception. Let's go with that. Maybe drinking too much on a Thursday at 8 and I'm playing on Saturday. It's just weird effects. But
I guess so.
Yeah, so Returnal, I'm putting you in the back. I'm kind of done with you. I'll watch some YouTube videos of the rest of the game. I kind of got no choice because
Hey, you're the same boat as me.
Yeah, which is a shame because I do really like it. It's just like Sekiro. I fucking love that game, but you know, once I got to that like lightning boss, I just handed the controller to Colin. I'm like, Colin, please help. I can't do it. I can't even get past stage 1. And you're like, okay. And off like I think it was the second try, you beat the whole boss. I'm like, fuck.
Well, I already beat it on my system already. I already put the hours in required to get my reflexes to that point.
Yeah, this fucking nonsense. I was like, man, I don't know whether I just don't have the patience, I'm not good enough, I don't know what it is. Probably a variety of issues, but... So, done with the Returnal, and then excuse me, cat. Jeez. Again, just making circles. Okay, so because I got Fire Emblem Engage, I'm really motivated to try to beat finally 3 houses. Never did it. It's been an egregious effort on my part since I do like the Fire Emblem series. I've played another 12 hours of this game, unlocked a few features that I probably should have unlocked in hour 2, which makes me seem very foolish now. Because all I did was keep hearing, "Oh, have you done the tea parties?" I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about, tea parties?" Well, turns out that's a big recruitment effort part of the game in between, where you get to have a nice conversation with various people and it gets you to get their relationships up and whatnot. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's I'm not into that kind of stuff in Fire Emblem Three Houses, but it's like, man, I want this character on my team. He's an archer. I have gameplay motivations. And I finally got to the time skip fucking 40 hours into this thing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm playing the game wrong probably. And all the character sprites are 5 years older, way better looking. They're a little, they're kind of the same strength, but they all have different upgrades to them, which makes them more unique than usual. So everyone's gone from kind of bog standard to more unique characteristics, but that also means that they're more susceptible to other attacks. So I'm finding that out. I still have the permadeath system on. I might get to that point pretty soon where I'll just turn that off so I can play the game faster. If you get my meaning there. Because it's a long ass game, and I want to play my other ones. I still haven't played God of War Ragnarok, which is a real shame since I bought that back in October, Joey? Is that when it came out?
I think so.
Yeah, something like that. And I haven't beaten Horizon Forbidden West 2, even though I love the game. I know you didn't, Joey, but so there's that. So that's kind of the main things I've been playing. And Friday, the demo of a game called Wolong Fallen Dynasty, and it's the newest effort by Team Ninja. That's the Neo franchise game developers, and I was like, okay, this game's gonna be hard as hell. I'm gonna love it, and then not be able to play it halfway. So maybe I can justify not wanting to buy the game in a week. Well, the demo is awesome. Both you guys should play it. It's like Sekiro, it's like Neo, it's like Dark Souls, but it plays with the speed, I would say, of a Bloodborne, with a sprint and jump option for the game.
Ooh.
The counter system is actually not incredibly frustrating. I can actually do it, which is nice. And there's actually a very cool motivation factor to. So I found out twofold. One, you can beat enemies without using the counter system, but if you use the counter system, that triggers cool in-action split cutscenes that do huge damage, or you can press the triangle button when you break their stamina or their block with various magic spells that you can unlock. And then you can just press the triangle, and it'll kind of do that same, not that epic cutscene fight, but you'll do a big attack getting to that point. So this game is really cool. I really like it. The world is cool. It's got a lot of Taoist and Taoist themes to it, which is different. It's got this black sorcerer who's, I guess, trying to find the elixir of life is my gauge on it. Not really sure what's happening there, but the demo's really long. It's at least 2 to 3 hours, depending on how good you are and get used to it. So that's a significant amount of time, and you're your progress and save data will transfer to the main game if you get it, along with a couple perks of you beating the demo, or at least getting to a certain point point to it. The game's good. The game's good. It flows well. It plays fast. The story is, more or less interesting. It's more about the gameplay here, which I'm very into right now. So Wolong Final Dynasty would recommend.
Yeah, perhaps I shall partake.
Yeah, free demo. Go check it out.
Once I've hooked up my PS5.
Have I convinced you, Joey?
No.
Are you just not into those kind of Dark Souls games?
Yeah, no. Like, I don't like games that have to dodge more than I can attack.
Well, because the game plays fast, you're encouraged to be offensive. You're encouraged to engage in the combat, before before they can get to you. It has a really cool. It's called like a morale system in the game. So as you kill enemies and go on like streaks of killing enemies, your morale increases. So you kill 2 enemies, that's probably enough to get you to like a level 2 morale, level 6, etc. Okay, and with morale increases, so you can conceivably grind like cheap enemies to get your morale up. You gain your confidence, so to say, and that'll actually increase your, I guess we'll call it a streak, to increase your offense and defensive capabilities for that quote-unquote round, that run. And what happens is the enemies also have their morale states. And if there's a group, maybe there's like a leader to the group, and he has a level 8 morale, and they're connected to the group of minions around him, and they all have like level, let's say, 4 morale. If you go after the captain first and kill him, then all the ones with lower morale around him will like cower in fear for a second, or stagger, or something like that, which is really cool. But also, if you die, the enemy that kills you gets a morale increase, and you're encouraged to try to get revenge. And of course, that's where the Dark Souls things comes on, where you can get all your like points back or souls or what have you. But with the morale increase, they get a little stronger and then they top out. So even though you're encouraged to be aggressive with everything, if you come across an enemy that's kind of got your number, they have increased morale specifically to you for a period of time until I guess you go back later. But that was cool. I died to like this giant like dog demon thing like 4 times. And it does have a max, it seems, that they can get to. So not impossible. Did find a cool couple little exploitation tactics. Fire, very useful to use in this game. Let's put it that way. Really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this game. It's one of the better demos I've played in a while. And in a way, I really wish that companies would go back to doing demos. I'm not saying they have to be fucking like 3 hours long, because if the whole demo was me just playing this like opening level and getting to the first boss, and let's say it stops as it hits its second form, I think that'd be more than enough, right? Big teaser. This is what the game's about. This is how it feels. This is how it plays. And what's you guys' take on like demos in the modern era here?
I haven't really played any like demos of modern games recently. Just really haven't had the time or interest. I mean, I used to play demos of stuff all the time as a kid on PC games, although that was mainly because that was the only thing available to me. But yeah, I do agree on the whole boss second form thing you just said. Just like be like, want to see more? Buy the full game.
Right.
That would really get me excited to play the actual game.
Yeah. I was super shocked when, after I'd gotten to that first boss, beat it second form, Did a little grinding to get the morale up before fighting him because that second form kicked my ass. And I thought that was going to be the end of the demo, and it would just kind of introduce me to the game. And then it goes, nope, you have all of also Chapter 2 to play. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's going a little too crazy.
But also, they made it clear that I think after a month, the whole demo is going to be off consoles to play. So it's really, it's a limited time, which I think is another interesting aspect to this. So you kind of got to be in the know of these things coming out. You know, Octopath Traveler 2 has a demo out on Switch right now and consoles, I think. I think that's it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'd still rather play Octopath Traveler 1 first.
Yeah, definitely get on that.
I mean, I have it in my possession in physical form, so sooner or later.
Okay. Are we ready to talk about these 2 puzzle games?
Let's do it.
Okay, pulling up the drop that you gave us, Colin. I'm going to play it.
Alrighty.
Hopefully this works on the first try. There we go. Loading. Okay. Game over, Missile Command. That's what that was from. Colin.
Yeah, I just thought it sounded so cool.
Yeah,
especially coming from an Atari.
Yeah, I've had people come over the last couple weeks now that I got my big gaming setup kind of done, and everyone kind of wants to play Atari, and Missile Command and Pitfall are very very popular.
Cool. I should come over one of these days. Just all the way to Rhode Island.
Yes.
See the place.
Yeah. I was still in that apartment, but it's not like I've had this place very long.
Exactly. I want to see it.
Yeah.
I want to see the rigs. The rig.
The rig.
The setup. I'm totally
my mess. My
totally
mess of
brain
a house.
farting right now.
Yeah, my mess of a house where things are just still scattered around, but except 2 places where I hang out. Okay. First game, Colin, go.
All right. It is Professor Layton and the Curious Village on DS. Developed by Level 5 and published by Nintendo, although Level 5 published it in Japan. Released on the Nintendo DS in Japan on February 15th, 2007. In North America on February 10th, 2008. In Australia on April 10th, 2008. In Korea on September 11th, 2008. And in the EU on November 7th, 2008. And it later got an HD mobile port in 2018.
Sure did.
And I chose this game because Professor Layton is one of the most well-known and popular puzzle game series in recent memory. It even got a crossover with Phoenix Wright at one point. And I played that one. It was pretty fun. I forget what convinced me to play this way back when. Maybe it was the Ghibli-esque art style, or just hearing so many people talking about it, and at one point seeing a cheap copy on the shelf at EB Games and thinking, what the hell?
Yeah, why not, right?
And I got it. Yeah. Now, the plot is as follows. Professor Herschel Layton and his apprentice Luke Triton have been summoned to a village called Saint Mystère to solve a mystery surrounding an artifact called the Golden Apple, since those who discover it will have access to the late Baron Augustus Reinhold's fortune.
By the way, all the names in this game, phenomenal. I love them.
Yep, very European.
Yeah.
Yep.
Luke Triton. That's Joey's sex name. He just won't admit it.
Yeah. Along the way, he and Luke have to solve all kinds of brain teasers to figure everything out and finally solve the entire case. And outside the puzzles, the game is basically just a point-and-click adventure. One thing the Layton series is known for is the fact that each game has a twist ending that's utterly absurd and implausible. But because it's so quirky and cartoony, you pretty much have no choice but to accept it. I mean, even the Phoenix Wright crossover had a really bonkers explanation for everything. Should I spoil the twist here? Do you guys mind?
Let's talk about the full game and what we think to it, because here's something that might shock you. I beat this whole game.
Nice.
Yeah, it took me like 13 hours, and I brought my DS to work, or 3DS to work. I played. Ironically, there's a demo that you can get online, and I just kind of played that, and I go, I like this game. I'm gonna get it. And it was on eBay. I got like a $10 copy. Got to my house in like a day, which was cool.
Awesome.
And then I just kind of played it at work in between everything. This was a lot of fun, and it's its 15th year anniversary, I think, this month, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, if you count Japan, it came out. Let me see. Yeah, it was in February 15th, 2007, so it'd be its 16th anniversary for the Japanese release, but it was February 2008 for North America, so yeah, 15 years is accurate for this version.
Yeah, wild. Wild and good timing. That's what it is.
Awesome. Yeah. And the story is told through visual novel style dialogue sequences, though there's the occasional fully animated cutscene, which is something that continued with each new entry into the series. Now, I said before on a previous cast, but I found that every new entry into the series from Miracle Mask onward lost a lot of the charm it originally had, because the character sprites got rendered in 3D instead of the usual 2D ones, and that just doesn't look right to me. But yeah, playing this again after so long gives me so much nostalgia. It's like the longer we do this podcast, the older I feel.
Well, we are all in our mid-30s now, so we've officially hit it.
Officially. Yeah.
And we're still playing games from, 35 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
More than that, with one of them here coming up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, your enjoyment of this game will depend entirely on how much you enjoy doing brain teasers, because they're the real meat and potatoes of this game. I mean, sure, the quirky art style and plot are there, and the voice acting isn't half bad, but the puzzles are the real star of the show. And I found these puzzles pretty fun.
What do you think of the... All right, Joey, I'll ask you this question. What did you think of the difference between all these puzzles coming up out of nowhere seemingly throughout the game compared to the kind of nice little plot and story that they had going on? Do you think it was too separate from each other, or would you have rather had the puzzles be more in line with the game story?
Honestly, I really didn't care. I thought the story was interesting, although I must say the kid is an idiot. Why did he tell me about a secret that he would have to go to the grave with, whatever his wording was? But I just met him, and he's already telling me. So what other secrets can I get out of this kid?
I just have to assume this kid's an orphan and therefore stupid. He was dumb enough to not have parents, so what do you expect? Am I wrong? Still there, Joey? Did he drop out?
I'm still here.
Oh, okay, all right.
I mean, some of the puzzles related, but I mean, there was a lot of puzzles. It's like they jammed the game with puzzles.
Yeah,
it's like, can we fit a puzzle here? Yeah, we could probably get 2 in here, maybe 7.
In order to progress through the game, you must have completed 15 puzzles. Ah, damn it!
Well, that's the nice thing about this game. If you end up missing puzzles for whatever reason, whether you didn't think to tap some obscure part of the screen or just didn't go looking for them, the game will mercifully send the puzzles to a character called Granny Riddleton, and then you can go there and solve them at your leisure.
Yeah, so not everything is really required. There's a lot of options to it. Yeah, it won't. There's only certain ones that are mandatory through your progress, which I quite enjoyed.
Yeah, and if you tap the screen on certain spots in different locations, you can find hint coins, and you can use those to as the name suggests, get hints as to solve certain puzzles that you're having trouble with, which is a nice feature.
Yeah, that was helpful for quite a few of them. Some things are the thing about puzzle solving, and my issue is everyone's brain operates differently, and in order for you to understand the puzzle, you have to kind of understand the person who made it a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
So, I'll give you an example. The block brain teasers where people have like a 4x4 and it's just I don't know, maybe it's like two pictures and you have to connect the pictures to make a word and what that word is. So it's
yeah.
I can't think of an example off my head, top of my head, but like those kinds of things I'm never good at because I just don't think like in that space. But in this game, there was only a couple that I came across where I generally had an issue with, and mostly is because it wasn't because I didn't figure it out, it was because the game was like sensitive one way or another to, oh, you didn't draw this line properly. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, okay, I was right, but I was just shitty at using the DS stick.
Yeah.
So that was okay. The math puzzles, math puzzles are always weird because it's like, okay, can you see the pattern to it rather than an actual equation? And the way I always think is I'm never looking for a pattern. I'm actually looking for like math. It's like, okay, if I +2 and -3, and I guess that would be a pattern, right? And it's like, nah, no. It's really just 1, 3, 5, 7, and then move on with your life. So I'm always overthinking those. Joey, the puzzles.
Yeah.
Did you struggle? Or are you too smart?
I mean, there was a good mix. Some of them were easy. Some of them required a little thinking. So, but I didn't get to play. I can only watch since I don't have a DS. I have one. I just don't know where the hell it is.
Oh, because I was like, I'm pretty sure you have like a 3DS somewhere.
Yeah.
I do. I just don't know after I moved where it is. It's probably buried in my closet somewhere.
You need to get that thing out.
Maybe.
Yeah, you have a Switch. I think the whole Layton series is on the Switch now, isn't it?
Is it?
Maybe. I know that I mentioned there was like an HD port in 2018, so you could probably get it on your phone.
Look this up. Keep going.
Or on your tablet.
Yes. It is on the Switch.
Perfect.
Yes. Professor Layton and the New World of Steam came out on the Switch, really. Oh, no, that's to be announced. That's the new Layton game that you said, Colin. Oh.
Yeah, Nintendo Direct.
So, I don't think any of the old games are on the Switch, actually.
That's too bad.
Wow, they made one like every year for like 8 years. And then just one game in between 2013 and now.
Yeah, I think that was like the Layton Mysteries one.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. All right. Did you guys happen to read or look up the advertising that surrounded the first Professor Layton game?
No. Why would they do that?
No, I did not.
Well, when I was reading about kind of just the backstory to it, I came across like unique advertising that this game had to go through because it was just, there was a lot of shovelware on the Wii and the DS coming out during this era, and there was some fear over the game being kind of shoved in with the shovelware because of how it looked. And the fact it was kind of like, what's that DS series? Like, is it literally called Brain Teaser?
Maybe?
Or Brain Box or something like that. So the whole advertising campaign was featured around the DS and celebrities playing them, and they used those commercials with the celebrities to play Professor Layton and showing the puzzle games as they were playing them. So they did it in both Japan, especially, and America. So I think a couple of like the people from Friends were in a commercial playing Professor Layton on the DS to advertise the DS. In Japan, the whole like back cover of the game just had celebrities talking about playing the game rather than showing you actual gameplay or showing you the story of the game. It was so in Japan it was focused on that advertising aspect, and then in America it was about showing that cool people play it as well. While in Europe, the entire like front cover and everything was changed to be more steampunkish, and that was a decision by Sega of Europe, or not Sega of Europe, my god, Nintendo of Europe, because they felt that the like anime designs and the whole puzzle aspect would be A, for children, and B, nobody would buy it otherwise because of that, and a couple other aspects. And there was actually kind of a fallout behind Level 5, and who was the director and maker of this game? Shinkai and Hino. They were pretty upset with the European branch because of that, but then eventually they conceded because the game had to be, of course, translated into a million languages, which is always the hang up in Europe. Make sure everything's like culturally okay. So that was another thing about the art, is how could they make it not appeal to one specific culture over another. And it turned out it worked. Every one of these advertising techniques specific to regions absolutely worked, and that's why the game sold so well right out of the gate, and which led to all of these sequels that would come out later. It was the advertising of this first game was so successful it led to fucking like 9 other games. So I found that interesting. I haven't really come across a game that had to kind of jump through a lot of hoops and do different things to try to appeal to different. It just really feels like a lot of other games should try to do that, and I'm sure they do. I'm sure they all sit in the rooms. It's like, okay, what like changing the name and title of a game, and I think they even did that with this one too. Isn't it called something else? No, they did that for the later ones. Like, so the sequel is Pandora's Box in Europe, but in North America, it's Diabolical Box.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Do they not think Americans know what Pandora is?
I think it's because it's a religious connotation. They don't want to go into that.
Yeah, it reminds me of Harry Potter. It's like in Canada and Europe, it's Philosopher's Stone, but in US, it's Sorcerer's Stone.
Right.
Because apparently the publishing company thinks Americans are idiots.
Americans are idiots and offended easily by religion.
You see, but diabolical is religious. That's like
no, Joey. Devil. It's a word. Well, the devil's okay because it's Christian. Joey's like grunting. I hate this place.
Hey, we got plenty of room up here in Canada.
Oh boy. Okay. So Professor Layton, I like the story, Colin. Joey. I did vastly enjoy this. Obviously, I fucking beat it. That doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of what did you guys think of the main town with the old man and the kind of his workmanship? I'll put it that way.
I thought it was neat. It had a very quirky style to it, kind of like older Disney movies where everything's kind of like on an angle, very kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's like sort of crooked, but looks very quirky in that regard. In fact, I think some Muppet movies did that same sort of architecture style. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was meant to evoke sort of a European feel, sort of like Sherlock Holmes type stuff.
Right. Oh, so, yeah, it was definitely,
I
I definitely got a lot of Sherlock vibes. For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to talk about the twist.
Tell me the twist.
Go
I don't
for
know
it.
the twist.
Well, everyone is robots.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yep.
And everyone's connected to the gold. And if you touch the gold, they all die.
Yeah. Yep. The golden apple is the late Baron's daughter. And if she opens the vault and touches it, yep, everybody shuts down. But she chooses not to.
Coward.
Coward. Just drink the Kool-Aid like everyone else. Come on. The spaceship's calling. The spaceship of riches. I like the
and
twist.
if you can if you can believe it, it's probably the most plausible twist of any Professor Layton game.
Probably. I've played the third one before. Never played the original.
Yeah, that was a really bonkers twist.
I don't even remember what it was.
It's like a whole separate London underneath London.
Oh, well. I mean, that's obviously true, though. If you've ever been to London, there's two different cities there.
Yeah, I've been.
There's
And
day and night.
Yeah. So true.
London's nuts at night. Oh my god. People walking around nude, coming home from the bar.
So you're saying I should go to London?
Yeah, I mean you'll
Go for it.
you'll just be on a bus or a train and you'll be passing like Piccadilly Circus and you're like, "Oh, it's a bunch of nude people." And they have their clothes in their arms. What happened to them?
They've been taking lessons from Amsterdam, it seems.
They don't. Well, the thing is, they don't need a red light district to do some crazy raunchy shit in London. Anyways, yeah, Professor Layton. I love this game. I like the twist. Love the story. The puzzles are fun. Like I said, I did buy this game. I beat it. Highly recommend for me. Big
Yep,
pass.
Easy pass.
I am passing it as well.
Okay.
Nice.
Wow. Look at you, Joey. Joey, how far did you get? At least in your little videos.
Watch about 30 minutes. So, not too far.
Yeah. Yeah. You get the crux to it.
Yeah, I got that main gist. All the kids stupid. So, that's all I need now.
So it says the game takes you about 14 hours. You can get this sucker from $10 to $15. I'd say it's absolutely worth it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
$1 an hour of your time, basically. Not bad. Not a bad trade-off. All right. The second game, I will have much less to say about this one.
Yeah. Next game is Solomon's Key for the NES, among other things. Developed and published by Tecmo, although Probe Software and US Gold respectively for the computer versions. And released in the arcade, NES, Master System, TurboGrafx 16, Game Boy, and a whackload of computer systems, including the Commodore 64 and ZX Spectrum, all in the year 1986. Now, I've never played this one before, nor have I heard of it until recently. And the way I heard about it is a story in and of itself. When I was thinking of puzzle games for the topic, I remembered back to a game called Joshua and the Battle of Jericho that my brother got for Game Boy for his birthday way back in elementary school.
Joshua and the Battle of Jericho.
Yeah, a Bible game.
Okay, I was about to say, that sounds like some whacked out Bible verse.
Yeah. It's actually a song. Joshua and the Battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho.
That sounds very familiar.
Joshua and the Battle of Jericho, and the walls came tumbling down.
Definitely have heard this. Yes.
Yeah, sang that so often in Sunday school and shit. But yeah,
Growing
brother
up in
got it for his
Texas, I
Game Boy.
suppose, explains a lot for me.
I have never heard of it.
Can't be everybody. But yeah.
Not
I
a lot of
remember-
Christian singing in Philadelphia, Joey.
Not a lot of Christian singing for me.
Okay, Colin, you were saying.
Yeah. So yeah, my brother got that game for his Game Boy way back in elementary school. And I remembered that I'd found out, much like most Bible games of the time, it was a reskin of another game called Crystal Mines. And I started looking at videos of Crystal Mines on YouTube, and that somehow led to me seeing Solomon's Key in the comments, and then after seeing gameplay footage of it, decided I needed to get it on the podcast. And I'm making an effort to get more pre-2000s games onto the cast here.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, we could do that.
I mean, that's, for me, the true retro.
Oh, you're one of them.
Oh, he's one of them, Joey.
He's one of them. Maybe I should change one of the games I select for next week to the newer one, just to piss off you guys.
Hey, I'm flexible. But yeah, for this game, the gameplay is simple yet complicated. It's a puzzle platformer where you play as a wizard who can use magic to create or destroy blocks, whether in midair or on the ground in front of you. Of course, that's provided there is an item or enemy in the square you're trying to place it in. And your goal is to collect the key to the exit before reaching said exit. It's a bit like Lolo in that regard.
Yeah, it's like the platform version of Adventures of Lolo, is how I took this game.
Yeah. And along the way, you can collect treasure to raise your score, or collect bells that summon fairies that you can also collect. And you get 10 fairies and you get an extra life.
You know, some say that also works at in New Orleans, you know?
Maybe.
No?
Going the whole Zelda 2
right there on
healing house?
Right there on Delphine Street? No? Just me?
Never been. But yeah, this game reminds me a lot of Lode Runner. Except you have more freedom of creating and destroying blocks. And occasionally you can collect magic that lets you shoot fireballs to take out enemies, although you only have a limited number of those. Now, this game is quite challenging to say the least.
Fuck, it totally is. It's fucking hard, man.
Yeah.
I got stuck on level 2 for a long time.
God.
Yeah, for me, level 3 was where it really ramped up in difficulty.
Oh, it's the one-hit kill system that really gets me, because it required so much jumping and precise movement and split-second decisions, especially with the wand to destroy a block or put something there in front, because you really have to get the timing down of create and destroy in one fluid motion, or it's your death.
Yeah. I am not ashamed to say I save scummed this game with save states.
So, if you look up the manual online like I did, and also look up a video on YouTube of someone failing a lot, if you press up, A, and B after you die, it just restarts the level for you.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So no reason to like truly save scum.
Well, I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah.
According to Wikipedia, this game has 64 levels total. 48 for the main game, 15 secret levels, and the final level.
Yeah, I only got like 10 levels in. It was very, very difficult.
Same.
It was muy difícil.
For sure. And apparently the ending changes on whether or not you completed the secret levels.
Oh. Well, replay value, I suppose, if you have that level of patience.
Yeah, it's most definitely Nintendo hard.
It's Nintendo hard. I did get Nintendo'd a couple times playing this, where I created a block in between standing on another. This happened on, I think it was level 3 and 4, it was back to back, where essentially the block was created on top of myself and then I couldn't move.
Good times.
I was like,
man.
Fuck. So when
That
that
sucks.
happens, it's kind of game over.
For sure.
So there was that. Yeah, it's so you got projectile fireballs. You have spinning like Easter Island heads that will fall down and spin at you. You have to create a block for it to go the other direction. You have you have plasma balls, I guess, that circle a block, and if you create another one next to it, it'll start to circle both of them in turn, and it'll just go around and around. It's kind of like those enemies in Metroid that kind of go around and stay on the blocks. That's what that reminded me of.
Yeah, I was thinking more Zelda myself, but I get what you mean.
Yeah, there's
The same thing.
yeah, there's some fire and ice you have to kind of go across. There's general enemies that you can actually jump over. The problem I had with them is so often when I was required to jump over them, I wouldn't jump properly and I would just land right on them. That is how I died the most in this game. While I was trying to like figure out a puzzle, if it was something along the lines of, oh, I didn't do this right and died because I made a mistake, that was totally different from things that were that felt like they were out of my control. It was always jumping over enemies. That was aggravating.
Yeah. And that one level with the things shooting fireballs from both sides on each level of the screen, that I had so much trouble with that one.
Yeah, create a block, jump, turn around, create a block, and then turn around the other way, create a block, and then somehow be able to jump, and then create a block and jump up on that one, and then you're good.
Yeah.
No problem. You get all that?
Requires so much precision timing. But yeah, this game's pretty hard. I mean, I can't say it's badly designed. It's just really, really hard.
Yeah, it's just difficult. It came out in 1986, and there was a lot to it at the time. Graphically,
sure.
It doesn't look anything worse or better than of 1986. Really, it's just, it has a lot of intricate details to it. And honestly, if you were smart enough to kind of play a game like this at the time, I could see you just sinking just hours and hours and hours into this kind of game. Because remember, when we're all growing up and we're broke, poor kids, unlike Joey, who's totally rich and not in the pores, you only have like one or two games. You just play those forever. So you gotta hope that you have a fucking awesome game that you can sink a lot of hours into over and over again. And this definitely, I think, would fit into that category.
Yeah, for sure.
Joey, how does it feel not being poor?
That's nice, actually. Bought an expensive couch yesterday.
Oh, man. So they say money doesn't buy happiness, and you're like, yes, it does. Bought me a great couch.
It's a comfy couch.
Hold my beer.
Just one? I bought two because I'm not poor. Anyways. What'd you think of Solomon's Key, Joey?
I liked it. I mean, it was challenging. Got my ass kicked. I don't know if I just sucked or if my emulator had a little delay because I felt like I would always die trying to place a block, like you said, or jump over an enemy. So the puzzles weren't too challenging. It was executing the puzzles that was challenging.
Yeah, the trick to that is our little like Peter Pan wizard guy here. He has a wand. And it's not like a delay in the game. What he's doing is the wand has a motion to it. Okay? So the wand has to go fully down in order to create or destroy something, and then when he pulls it up is when you can press the button again to activate.
Yeah.
So that's the whacked out timing to it. You have to wait for the motion to be over. So it's instead of just click click, you have to go click click. And that's the timing to everything. So it may seem like it's input delayed, but it's really not. Am I making sense,
sure?
Joey?
Yeah.
There's a lot of games like this from the 80s and 90s where you have to wait for a full complete sprite motion or model motion in order to do something. You can look up many videos of different games that fall into this trap. Just angry video game ex-player will talk about games like this that go through this. And Solomon Key does kind of fall into that, because it was very frustrating for me to get used to the way this game wants to be played.
Yeah, you always had to work around that stuff as a kid.
Yeah. Okay. Did anyone catch on to the space motifs and themes throughout the game? I did not until I looked it up and read about it.
I didn't know those were in there.
Yeah, it's like constellations and
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
with like Jupiter and
yeah, all kinds of stuff and like signs of the zodiac are scattered.
yeah. Now that you mention it, I do remember.
Yeah, I was like, oh, so that's what those were. Over my head.
Yeah.
Not really paying attention to that. Okay. I'll pass this. It was frustrating, but I can't say there was anything like discernibly terrible about it. If it didn't have the continue option that that I discovered, I would definitely be much more harsh. So,
Oh yeah.
little pass from me there.
I'm passing.
Yeah, I'll pass it.
Wow, 2 passes. Look at this. Puzzle games are a success, Colin.
Indeed. Looks like I came in at a good time with it.
You came in. Joey, favorite and least favorite, and your scores.
Favorite Professor, least Solomon's.
Okay.
I'm giving Professor an A and Solomon's a C.
Okay. All right.
Cool beans.
A and C for Joey. All right. I will go next after I write this down. I'm on the border of an S for Professor Layton. I think the music needed a little more tuning for Professor Layton. There's like I can nitpick a bunch of things and add them all up. So I'm gonna go A, Professor Layton. I'm actually gonna go B for Solomon's Key. I'm kind of the same. I'm kind of the same there with Joey, just a little higher on Solomon's Key. Colin?
Cool. My scores are the same as yours. I like Professor Layton better. Solomon's Key least favorite, and A for Professor Layton, B for Solomon's Key.
All right, look at that. So A and B. Look at that. That's man. How far back do we have to go to get that? I think that'd be the dystopian punk episode, maybe.
No, Reddit recommends. We got 2 good scores. I think it was A and A.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Looney Tunes. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
We're getting better games. Okay. So, Joey, what is the theme for the next podcast episode?
March Madness. We're gonna be playing some basketball, boys.
I love the b-ball. I love the shooty hoops. Played a lot as a kid in college, and looking forward to it. Okay, that was this episode 131. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye now.